Hello everyone, I am cryptorenzi and this is your channel for Apex Bitcoin and crypto news. And yes, you saw the thumbnail. The question was posed to me, will I ever sell Bitcoin? And if so, when? This important topic and much more covered in this video. Don't forget to stay till the end. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So yes, one of my loyal subscribers had asked me a question for my last video. And the question reads, can you please make a video on when and if at all you should sell Bitcoin? Should I sell at the end of the cycle and buy when it's low, or just absorb the declines and not touch it? Thank you. This is an excellent question and something that definitely needs to be discussed and gone over. Now, before we dive into this, first I want to state this is not financial advice. This is strictly for educational and entertainment purposes only, because we're going to dive super deep into this question. And something very important you have to understand is the answer to this question is very different for each individual. But I'm going to fully explain to you with full transparency of what I do and how I do it. I'm going to teach you to the best of my ability of how I think you should do it, providing what situation you're in. Now, before I answer the question, let's go ahead and talk about current news, which will tie into portions of the answers for that question. So a very important topic. What's going on with Bitcoin right now? Why did the price drop 9%? Should you be worried? Should there be any fear or panic? The simple, short answer is absolutely not. You have nothing to worry or fear about, in my opinion. This is a healthy part of the cycle. And it's pretty sad and manipulative what caused this. And I'm going to show you in a second what that is. And it's something you need to be aware of, which again is going to tie into my deeper answer on if or when I would ever sell Bitcoin. Now, let's go ahead and look at the charts so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So looking at the Bitcoin chart, you can see here on Monday, we had a massive drop. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on this so I can show you. But this candle here wicked down almost to 40,000. So roughly roughly an 8.3% drop. This is pretty massive in a day. So as you can imagine, a lot of people were scared, panicked, wasn't sure what's going on or what to do. And sadly, let me show you exactly what happened. This was from greed and manipulation of derivative investors. And I call them investors loosely because the ones who know what they're doing are investors. They force it on purpose on greedy people who are always trying to get an edge and save time. That doesn't happen in this market, okay? And you will get taken out. So if you look here, this is the derivative short and loss exposure that was liquidated. And as you can see, $455 million of longs were liquidated. Now let's talk about that for a second. Bitcoin's going to be rallying soon, okay? The bull market has officially started. So what do people do? They take huge leverage positions, okay? So in case you're new here or you don't know, you can trade crypto. So basically anytime you purchase crypto, theoretically it's a trade, whether it's a spot trade or an active trade or a swing trade. One way or another, you're actually trading crypto. But some people use leverage. And it's crazy. You can use up to 100x leverage. What they're basically doing is putting a huge multiplier on their money. Okay. Now, I've done this for years in the stock market. This is a great strategy you can use to hedge your position. This is what a lot of hedge fund managers do. It's a wise strategy when you know what you're doing in the equity market. In my opinion, this is not something you want to do in the crypto market. And I know that's against a lot of popular belief because people want to gamble, okay? But it's my goal and my mission to make sure you reach financial freedom. And in my opinion, you're not going to reach it by gambling. You might get lucky once or twice, but eventually you're going to get liquidated. And again, almost $500 million, as you saw, was liquidated on Monday. So long story short, they'll take their money, they'll leverage it up to 100x, and then they'll just get completely wiped out. Because the wealthy people, the big traders, people that do not like what these other people are doing, call it greed on both ends, whatever you will, this is how it works. There's always a winner and a loser. Don't ever forget that. Always a winner and loser anytime there's a trade that's placed. What happens is everyone sees okay, the market's heading up. So what does everybody do? They buy these positions to pump up their bags. But people with massive amounts of money will push these sells down and they'll get liquidated. And the market makers can see where you put your stop losses in. So don't kid yourself. This stuff gets manipulated at a high level. And if this sounds a little shady or peculiar to you, unfortunately, welcome to the world of crypto trading, okay? This is much harder to do in the stock market. It's still done to an extent, but it's very difficult to move the needle. Like, let's say you buy $10 million worth of Apple stock. You're barely going to move the needle. I mean, it'll move a little bit, but you're not going to cause all this disruption in the market. But if you buy $10 million of Solana, there's going to be a massive pump and push in the price. And you can also sell that much, which is going to wick the price down and bump up all the people who are in a long position or vice versa. So without getting too complicated on how to trade or how to do derivatives, just know there are people out there looking to burn you, and you should not be looking for shortcuts when it comes to creating wealth, especially in the crypto market. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get to the question. When will I ever sell Bitcoin, or if I will ever sell Bitcoin? First, you need to ask yourself, what type of investor are you? Are you a traditional investor, or are you a trader? Because if you're a trader, then you're going to kind of enter that gambling mindset where you're constantly going to be always chasing your tail for profits and losses, profits and losses. I personally feel if you truly understand Bitcoin, okay, and in full transparency, I used to trade Bitcoin. Okay, once I learned how rare and scarce it truly is, once I learned the power behind Bitcoin and the blockchain technology, I realized it wasn't worth my time, my brain power to trade Bitcoin. Bitcoin is something that needs to be collected and stacked, unlike any other asset on this planet, in my opinion. And remember, not financial advice. I'm fully sharing with you what I do and how I work my money. If it's something in the stock market, no, I have multiple different accounts set up multiple different ways. And there's a lot of times I'm going to trade positions or hedge positions or put protections on positions. To an extent, I will also do that in some cryptocurrencies. But remember, Bitcoin is an exception. I will never do this in Bitcoin. So even though it sounds pretty to where, well, we know Bitcoin's not going to go straight up, and that's correct. There's going to be tons of dips and tons of volatility. That's always important to remember. Just because we're entering a bull cycle right now, there's going to be all this market manipulation that's going to always occur. The super rich are going to push out the super greedy and vice versa. So anytime you're like, well, wait a minute, all the news is positive, everything's going amazing. What's going on? Why did Bitcoin just drop 11%? Because people got too greedy. It's just a small hiccup. It's a blip. If you look at the whole year, okay, you're still up a massive amount. And even for the month, you're still up, even with that 9.5% drop. Remember, Bitcoin is always making higher highs, not lower lows on the charts. That's super important. Now, I look at Bitcoin again differently. It's important you fully understand what Bitcoin is. Remember, it's immutable. Okay, there's a set finite amount. That's super important. Let me say that one more time. There's only 21 million Bitcoin ever, and we know that that number is much lower than that. From theft, from lost wallets, from deaths, so on and so forth. I'll comfortably put that number, let's say around 18.2 million. Okay, so that's all the Bitcoin that's ever going to be available on this earth. Now, you know institution adoption is right around the corner with the spot ETFs. You know the world is still very minor in the eye of Bitcoin. I think the number's up to maybe 14% of the world's population even know what Bitcoin is. How insane is that, what I just said? So as this stuff starts to become more mainstream, as mass adoption starts to be institutionalized on Wall Street, in college endowments, across 401ks, you're going to start to see a massive amount of money pump into Bitcoin. Why would you want to gamble and sell the rarest asset on this planet to try, hopefully, to get it back at a better price? I know on paper it sounds good, it looks sexy, and it seems easy. but I implore you, really think about this, okay? I'll never tell you what to do. You always do you. Remember, not financial advice. But I do want to look out for you and give you a hedge to be smarter than the next person, because I've been there. I've done it. I've done this for over 30 years. I've traded equities for well over 30 years. Okay, so I'm very much what you would consider an active trader. Okay, I know what I'm talking about. I have a lot of experience in this area. And if I'm telling you I personally do not trade Bitcoin at all, that should tell you something. Now, what I will do, here's my main strategy on Bitcoin. I always stack cash on the side. Any amount that you can do, put money aside, because you need to have gunpowder, okay? Instead of selling your position, remember, your position, or let me talk about it in my terms. My position is a finite position, okay? I'm never selling it, okay? At least not right now. Something better would have to come along. I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime. I don't know. It depends, because every 50 to 75 years, a new revolutionary technology is dispersed into the world. Theoretically, blockchain technology still hasn't really been introduced yet. We're thinking that's going to actually hit next year. Okay. So I'm looking at, I just turned 42, another 50 to 75 years, chances are I'm not going to be here. So I'm not really at the moment looking with my mindset to be selling Bitcoin. There's still too many unknowns of how it's going to act in the forward-thinking world, let's say 5 to 10 years from now. And I kind of unpeeled that onion a little bit on one of my old videos on the BlackRock video, which is posted here if you want to take a look at that. But basically, in summation of what I'm talking about there, we don't know if the banks are eventually going to get into this or not, or how this is going to work as far as balance and manipulation of money and wealth. But if you're holding Bitcoin, Bitcoin is like Cyber Manhattan. Think of it as the apex of all real estates. If you owned something on Fifth Avenue, would you sell it? If you owned prime real estate in Tokyo or Hong Kong, would you sell it? If you owned real estate, just think of it, whatever it is that you feel is pristine real estate in this world to you, would you ever sell that? The correct answer is no. Because if you truly study what wealthy people have done to get wealthy, if you study these metrics, you learn that there's something called pristine assets. Pristine assets are never sold. They're passed down from generation to generation, and they're usually rented out for massive, massive amounts of income. Okay, whether this is real estate or could be, equities, huge stock portfolios. There's things you can do called writing covered calls. When you own a huge amount of one stock, you can just easily write these calls and make tons of money. There's so many things the wealthy do that simplify this process. And in order for you to get to that level, you need to think like them. You need to start to put yourself in a situation so you can act like them. And that's why it's important to always have cash on the sidelines. So when Bitcoin is going to drop and all this market manipulation happens, like it did 2 days ago, that's when I'm stepping in and buying more. Okay. So instead of timing it perfectly and like, oh, let me sell all my Bitcoin, and then theoretically you could buy it all back at the bottom. Again, only God could see the charts that well. Humans are notorious for trading improperly. We love to just do everything backwards. Okay. Even the best people. Look, if this was easy, everybody'd be doing it and everybody'd be multi-millionaires. So just unfortunately, let me ruffle some feathers here. Most people, when they talk about this stuff, there's lies behind it. There is. It's kind of like, if you talk to someone who gambles a lot, do they ever tell you about their losses? No, but they'll tell you if they hit a jackpot or they won a bunch of money playing blackjack or something, but they don't ever talk about all the losses. Well, unfortunately, traders are kind of in the same boat. Again, not everybody, but most people are. Remember, this is a teaching video. I want to make sure you understand all the dangers and all the risks. Because remember, traders are going to want you to trade. Why? Because there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. Don't ever forget that. if they know you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be easy money to take from them. Okay, so just always remember these points. I'm here to look out for you. I'm not here to shield or take your money from you. Remember, looking at this, depending on what type of investor you are, you want to have money on the sidelines. You want to always buy these dips. You want to always add Bitcoin to your position. You're stacking the rarest asset on this planet. They're never making any more of it. Once Bitcoin does its thing over time, it is going to be insanely valuable. Now, one thing I've had investors and people, even bankers, talk to me about is it's hard for me to wrap my head around never selling something, because this is new to the world of investing. Usually you buy stuff with the intent to sell it to make a profit. But Bitcoin is different. Bitcoin is a different asset. And I know that sounds confusing maybe to most, but you have to continue to do your research. Go to my website, cryptorenzi.com. You can read all about this stuff, okay? I created this huge website with tons of valuable information to simplify things, to make your life easier to wrap your head around these topics. This is what I'm doing, okay? I see Bitcoin as something you can never have enough of it. And by the way, remember, there's only so much time left to even buy Bitcoin. Once this becomes mainstream, once BlackRock and Cathie Wood and ARK Invest and Fidelity and Wisdom Tree and all these companies start to get their ETFs approved, it's going to be very chaotic. Now, let me throw a wrench into what could potentially happen in 2024. Now, we all know from my last video, the deadlines for the spot ETFs are coming up January 8th, January 9th, January 10th. But what if they get declined? That's going to send the price down a bit. It will. Again, should you be worried? No. That's when you buy more. Okay, so I want to teach you to think differently about trading. Okay, you don't want to go and start leveraging stuff. You're going to time it wrong and lose everything. But when bad news happens, you should be excited. Why? Because you can buy more Bitcoin at a better price. So in my opinion, as long as you have cash on the sidelines and you keep in your pulse on the news and you're watching my channel regularly, because I'm going to let you know breaking news. I'm going to be here to let you know something major or something catastrophic. I'm going to be here to hold your hand and help you understand what's going on in the crazy volatile market. So that's a huge benefactor you have. But again, everybody's different. I know there's some people that watch my channels that are multi-millionaires. So they can take a lot more risk. Okay, I'm not telling you not to trade. You can trade all you want. You can do it however you want. But I'm just telling you what works best for me. And I need to teach a certain way because I want to make sure I can help everybody equally. I know doing it my way will get you there. It might take a little longer. It might not be as sexy, but it will get you there. And then as your wealth amasses into a huge amount, then you can reassess your risk tolerances, and then you can explore different trading strategies. But again, for me, I'm still not doing that, even at my level with Bitcoin. Because to me, Bitcoin's just too rare and too special. But again, that's me. And this could change. I'm leaving that open to change in the future. But for the way I see it, I don't see it changing anytime soon. And just on a side note, but when it comes to other cryptocurrencies and altcoins, of course, absolutely. I hedge my positions. Many times I will trade those. I do a lot of swing trading to build positions. And usually what I'll do is shave profits off and roll it into Bitcoin. Just different ways I move my money around to better position myself in Bitcoin. And that's another strategy as well that you can use to help yourself. Again, depending on where you are. If you're someone who is dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin at a small amount, maybe you're like in a third world country or something, and you're working hard, you're working 2 or 3 jobs, and you're putting like $5 or $10 aside each month to buy Bitcoin, then yes, it's more important for you to stick to that strategy. Don't worry about trading, and please do not try to take any shortcuts. Those shortcuts are going to be stolen from you. They're going to be taken from you like a thief in the night, and I do not want that to happen to you. Please just stay diligent in your course. I appreciate each and every one of you who watch this channel. Please comment down below if you have questions. Give me your opinions on how you handle trading. If you trade, do you trade the altcoins? Do you trade Bitcoin? Go ahead and put your success stories down below. And if you're gutsy enough, go ahead and put your bad stories down below. How much have you lost trading? Tell me some crazy stories that may have or have not happened to you with trading, especially leverage trading, because I always hear some doozies. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here. Please smash up that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, especially if you're new here. And please remember, tomorrow is not promised to anyone. Live every day to the fullest. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.